Today on The Young and the Restless, Chance tells Abby and Devon he wants to change their arrangement, Diane makes a confession to Jack, and Kyle rocks Summer's world. In the Neil Winters Jazz Lounge, Ashley tells Tucker that her sister's heart was in the right place, but the meddling won't help. Ashley can't see why everyone else can't see that she's only doing what she is because of her love for her brother, not her hatred for Diane. He suggests she's convinced herself that Diane is a threat and reminds her that Jack is a grown man, she's not his keeper. If his relationship with Diane causes chaos at Jabba, so be it. Ashley thinks it's easy for him to say that. McCall thinks she's letting the company become a yoke around her neck. It's time for her to build her own legacy with him. Everything at Jabbat has gone on for too long. It might not be possible to save it. Tucker feels if Ashley can purge herself of her hatred of Diane, she can make things great again. She says can't turn off the hatred like a light switch. He admits it's exhausting. They can't even have a conversation without it constantly going back to Diane and Jabbat. She sarcastically apologizes and insists the company will always be part of her. Tucker says if she's right about Diane destroying Jabbat, they can just swoop in and scoop it up for themselves. The best way to prove to Jack that Diane is a threat is to let her crash and burn on her own. Jack joins Diane at Society. She admits that she tried to help with Summer and Kyle, but may have only made things worse. She fills him in on trying to intercede with the couple by claiming that Harrison was coming to her in tears at night. Jack is sad to hear this. Diane explains that it's not true. She made it up to try to get through to the couple. You lied to Kyle again, he points out. She's not going to justify it but wanted to make it clear to her son how much this situation could impact his son. Maybe this could rattle him into action. Diane admits that she exaggerated things and she shouldn't have used her grandson. But this upsets Jack, and he's not surprised this blew up in her face. She was desperate to try and fix things because she is at the center of all the problems between the couple to begin with. She's determined to find her son and try to fix things. At the Abbott mansion, Kyle tells his wife he doesn't want to discuss their situation any further. She says that if he's so angry that he can't, he needs to step up and say so. He doesn't know what he wants, but this is hell for him. It's hell for her too. She's sure that Harrison is picking up on their conflict. Taking a drink, he suggests they take some time apart to figure this out. Like a formal separation, she asks, assuming he can't mean that. Her husband does. She's been lying repeatedly to his face, and he feels betrayed. How could she have been so cruel to him? Summer knows she's handled things badly, but Kyle still thinks they could have dealt with things together. She took his love and sympathy and threw it in his face. She's betrayed every confidence he has in them as a couple. Summer asks if he still loves her and Kyle points out she chose her mother over him. He asks if she recruited Diane to help her and she admits she was desperate and went to his mom. I think we need some time to see what's left, if anything, he suggests. Summer says that's too extreme and if they love each other, they can work this out. Her husband needs time to think things over. The pool house isn't far enough away. She accuses him of throwing her out and he reminds her that she betrayed him. They rehash what their moms did. Summer is sure that Diane is guilty of much more than her mother is. Kyle lashes out again and she decides he may be right about her moving out. Jack and Diane arrive and ask for a moment alone with their son. After Summer walks out, the parents hope he hasn't asked his wife to move out. He tells his mom her meddling has already made things worse and storms out of the house. At the Jazz Lounge, Ashley reminds Tucker that she already built her own company in Paris. He's aware of that and that's why he knows they can be a success. It would be wonderful to build a company together. He's been spitballing names and thinks their company should be called simply Ashley. People all over the world will associate beauty with her, and they will be a super couple setting the industry on fire. She's sure that would hit Jack where it hurts. Tucker declares this has to be about them. Is she in? Of course, she agrees. He calls for champagne. Ashley and Tucker go up to his suite and lounge in bed. They joke about what to call their company and how much it could annoy Jack and the others. He suggests Tushley. She asks how the inner machinations of this imaginary company are supposed to work. McCall says they will be equals in every way. She points out that his business acumen already tanked his last business. He admits he took his eye off the ball, but with her by his side, that would never happen. She gets them champagne and they toast to new beginnings. At society, Diane gets a drink and complains about how her life is always 2 steps forward and 3 back. Jack blames everything on Phyllis, and she admits using Harrison was pretty stupid. Jack is sure she was not being malicious. She's sure that Phyllis is having a good laugh. She's still getting revenge on her. Just staying away is tearing the family apart, and Phyllis must be loving that. He urges her to embrace the positive and reminds her of all they have to look forward to, like her returning to work at Jabot. Diane points out how much friction that could cause in the family. Jack dismisses that and sends out a press release about her new position. If the family has an issue with it, that's their problem. They kiss. Audra wanders into the jazz lounge and finds Kyle drinking alone. She notes that he doesn't seem any better off than the last time she saw him. When she offers to find another saloon to drink in, Kyle asks her to stay so he can buy her a drink. He needs to forget about what's going on in his life. He needs to shut it all out. She'd be happy to help, and they toast to it. Chance has to drop Dominic off at Devin and Abby's penthouse. He knows he was supposed to have him for a few days, but another detective called in sick, so he has to fill in. Abby is always happy to have Dominic at home. Awkwardly, the cop adds that this entire situation is not working out. He thinks that having 2 places to live is stressful for the child. The back and forth seems to be confusing him. He suggests they change the custody agreement slightly and thinks they should move into the Chancellor house while he moves into an apartment. Devin was not expecting this. The cop still wants to share custody and see the kid as much as he can, but he thought he should put this out there for Dom's sake. He leaves them to think about this. Abby feels this is a huge decision. Is it something Devon would even consider? He'll concede that it could be best for their son, but wouldn't it be weird for her? She admits it will be weird when Jill stops by, but how would he feel about giving up his home? He recalls buying the place and how annoyed Hillary was when he tried to move her in without consulting her. It's also where he created Hamilton Winters. He has so many memories of Neil in the penthouse, but it's also where he passed away. They have quite a few memories there too. It's where they realize they were in love. Neither of them is sure they can make a quick decision, but they're sure Chance gets lonely kicking around in that empty mansion. Abby points out it would make sense to bring Dominic back to the house where he spent his early life. They'll have to think about it. Summer arrives at Crimson Lights and sends a text to her mother, telling her she wishes she knew where she was and that she was okay. Chance appears and asks if she needs someone to talk to.